Hi folks, Aaron Pennebrick here from the Wisconsin Historical Fencing Association, and I'm going to talk about the F word, the dreaded F word, and that's the fitness word. For a lot of folks, fitness is kind of a difficult subject, or a subject they're not very familiar with, especially when we talk about like sword fighting and sword combat and those kind of things. Fitness is an essential component. If your body is not used to moving powerfully and quickly, then you're not going to be able to do a lot of the techniques that historically they talked about, because those people were very fit. They didn't go into the gym and work out, but they were on their feet all the time, doing manual things just to survive. So, you know, getting water, going to the restroom, these kind of things were not simple tasks. You know, our modern time allows us to do those things without that much effort, but back then it wasn't the case. Now, we do have some historical references to fitness in terms of some regimes they would put themselves through. They would talk about running for a mile in their armor every day. They would talk about lifting heavy stones. They'd talk about doing sword flourishes. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but basically what that is a workout with sword in hand. And that's the kind of thing I like to talk about when I'm talking to people that are sword enthusiasts or people who want to learn about fitness with the sword. And that's basically just movements. Powerful movements linked up with the historical techniques and done in such a way that you're getting a workout out of it. So what Ben is doing right now is he's moving in what we call guard transitions. He's moving from one guard to another. These guards come from the historical manuscripts. So these are not guards that we made up. These are things that we're researching, looking at from the period manuscripts, and then recreating in person, obviously. Now, one thing about this, he's going slow, he's taking his time. It's kind of a warm-up, but also it's going to lead into something a lot more energetic, a lot more physical in terms of what we call flourishing. And that's that bit I was talking about before, where you energetically and powerfully and physically go from one guard to another and make those guards then turn into cuts. And so that's a nice way to work out. So now with Katie Kramlich here, what we're doing is we're showing you how those guards are now moving a little quicker. So now you start seeing how they're becoming a little more smooth, a little bit more fluid. And that's leading up to where we're heading, and that is to that sword flourish. Historically, they talked about the art existing not only for combat, but also for the sake of art itself. And essentially, this is what they're talking about. They're talking about being able to exercise and move with your sword in such a way that it's not only accomplishing physical fitness, but also accomplishing combat readiness. This is truly the martial art aspects of our European martial arts, where they were practicing solo just for the sake of moving with their sword, understanding those movements linked together, and then also understanding at a different level how those movements together can effectively defeat another swordsman. So, transitioning to your LARP weapons. In reality, there's no difference between a historically accurate steel weapon and the LARP weapons that you guys are creating. The reason why there's no difference is because an object is an object, so it has the same parts and pieces that our other swords do, so you use it the same way. Katie's behind me going through the guards with your LARP weapons. You can see it's still effective. All the principles are the same. There's really no difference. In terms of the weapons and how they're constructed, it does make a difference how they're built. In other words, this weapon I have right here is a hand and a half or a two-handed sword, so it has enough room to accommodate those different grips and changes that I need to do historically that they teach us. Katie's using a single-hand weapon because it is a single-hand weapon, and so she's using the same principles. They're not different depending upon the weapon. The European system is built so that it's all kind of the same thing, regardless of how the weapon is constructed. And what we're teaching you right now is that segue into flourishing, getting a little bit more physical, a little bit more powerful. This is Nicole Green, and what she's going to show you is what we call up-downs. Essentially, she's just doing two motions with the sword and moving forward. She's doing this for two reasons. For one, it's a good workout, gets you ready for fighting with the sword. And number two, it kind of teaches your body how to move with the sword as you start propelling it and using its momentum. So this is kind of a foundational exercise for us as we start segueing into the more physical and aggressive kind of flourishing stuff that we're going to show you next.
Hello, I'm Katie from the Wisconsin Historical Fencing Association, and what we're going to show you now is kind of tying in all of the little drills and the techniques that you can do on your own and show you the athletic accumulation of all of that. So what Aaron is doing right now is flourishing. It's the athletic side of it, and you can do this on your own. He's going through the guards and the cuts. So you can see all the different variations, working many different angles. So it's not always a headshot, it can be anywhere on the body. And you can see and hear the intensity of it. It's an excellent workout. Now we're going to see a demonstration with the LARP weapons. So it's the same idea, you're moving athletically. The weapons are lighter, so you're really going to have to work your body to get into that. But again, same concepts are at work here. Working those different angles, the different cuts, still gets a great workout in.
Okay. Seriously, yeah.
Can't really bind with them, can you?
No, they don't hold up.
I lost a leg.
They bind a little bit
So
though.
when you lose a leg, you just drag it.
Drag it?
That way you don't break your other ankle.
Now I got hit back here
He's dead.
on the back.
Back, you're just torso. So you would hold your chest. You have 5 minutes to either find a healer or you're gonna keel.
Wait, I have to go like this?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're fighting hurt right now. So you lost both legs. You could either go yep like that.
Use your gimp leg as a shield, Katie.
That's actually more
Oh,
dangerous.
was she on 3 limbs? Did she
No.
lose her arm too?
No.
Yeah, she was just holding it back.
Oh, nice. The reality is this. These weapons act pretty much the same as our live steel. The only difference is kind of the stiffness, right, and the impact that it makes. What I mean by that is this. Nicole's going to cut at my side, okay? Cut, boom, and then I resist that. I deflect that. I'll go ahead and put it on here. There's a lot of bouncing that's going on with the foam, obviously, but that doesn't negate the technique. The idea is this. As she cuts at me, instead of whacking it out of the sky and doing a parry kind of motion, I'm going to come down and defend myself by putting this foam between her and I as a barrier. But it's not just a barrier. I also put my weapons, that is the edges and the point, in line with the body in order to defend myself. So it looks like this. She's going to do that, boom, and I'm going to go like so. So the angle that I choose and the way in which I deflect her blow is as important as it is for us historically. There's no difference. I understand that you can't hit the head and things like that. Historically, our main target is the head, but the body is still a viable target in our systems as well. So you can still do the same things that we do historically. Watch this. She's going to cut. I'm going to do what's called a shield by turning my false edge or the back edge into the blow, and then I can go ahead and thrust. Now, if she sets that aside, boom, there's your arm shot. So it's kind of the same thing. There really is no difference that I can see anyways in these battle tactics. The only difference is in reality the type of weaponry and the type of impact that these things are making when they make contact with each other. But it's not so bad that it can't be dealt with. Here's another idea. Same target. She's going to cut at my side. She cuts. I'm going to defend that. What I have to do with the bounce so that it doesn't hit me is I have to jump out away from it a bit. Once I do that though, I'm set up that I can now hit her just like we do historically. So look at that fast, she goes, bang, right down on the arm. The tactics are exactly the same. The techniques are exactly the same. The material's a little different, but it doesn't really change it so much that you can't pull these things off. Hi, Aaron Pennenberg of the Wisconsin Historical Fencing Association.
One more time.
Yeah, geez.
No problem. Take your time.
Sorry, Nicole.
Don't go until I say it.
Just have him keep going, and then intro into
Just
it.
don't let him stop.
Yeah.
Go till exhaustion. And that's what we're going to see now.
We'll be
You're
here for
past